stadium al ernstig verstoord is. In deze Canadese documentaire volgen we 3 heel gewone middenklasgezinnen die alle 3 te maken hebben met een bijna onhandelbaar kind. 2 kinderen zijn nog nooit een nacht stil geweest en eentje weigert consequent te eten. Hoe lang houdt een gezin dat vol? We volgen ze thuis door middel van een videocamera en tijdens de therapiesessies in hun pogingen de situatie weer in de hand te krijgen. Is er nog bij te sturen als al zo vroeg het contact tussen ouders en kind dreigt mis te lopen?
It's jammy time.
8 uur. Het avondelijk ritueel begint. Callum Hollett, 11 maanden oud, wordt door zijn vader Alan naar bed gebracht. Zijn moeder Catherine komt hem goeienacht kussen. Maar het gezin heeft al 11 maanden niet goed kunnen slapen, omdat Callum niet slaapt. Via een camera volgen we Callum een aantal maanden lang. Zijn ouders proberen erachter te komen wat er nou precies gebeurt 's nachts.
He's been doing this ever since he was born. He's never ever slept through the night. He doesn't know the meaning of the word sleep.
Elke nacht barst Callum in huilen uit. Niet 1 keer, maar wel 5 of 6 keer.
Couldn't get him to sleep during the day, and then we couldn't get him to sleep at night. So during the day, I was ready to phone the orphanage, and during the night, he was dealing with him, and he was ready to call the orphanage.
In the past few weeks, anyway, I seem to be up more frequently than Catherine getting in. But I think Catherine's reached the point where she's so tired that she sleeps through a lot of his noise making, which I'm not doing.
Ook overdag haalt Callum de slaap niet in. En de herrie die de baby veroorzaakt, drijft moeder tot wanhoop.
I kind of reached a point where I said, I can't go in there anymore because he's making me very angry.
Nog een gezin in de ban van een slapeloos kind. Victoria Brigden, 1,5 jaar oud, laat zich niet troosten door haar moeder Marceline.
When she wakes up at night, you can't really console her.
En ook niet door haar vader Nels.
A lot of stress. A lot of stuff. I'm almost eager to go to work.
It's very difficult for people to understand, you know, how Nels and I are fighting, how Kimberly and I are fighting, how it affects everybody.
Maar de slapeloosheid is niet het enige.
Dinnertime is very stressful.
Daar blijft het niet bij.
She follows me around everywhere I go. If I go to do laundry, she's there behind me down the stairs and constantly calling me, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." You know, wanting to know where I am all the time. You know, when we go out somewhere, she is, you know, very upset about us leaving.
Als oma oppast, is het helemaal een ramp.
As soon as they left her, she cried. And she cried the entire 2.5 hours that she was here. I just thought there was nothing you could do for her. I think I might have tried something in the way of, you know, Tylenol, something to try to calm her down. Because it just seemed like she was crying 24 hours a day.
Dit is Gabrielle Malcolm van 2,5. Haar moeder, Novlet, krijgt haar niet aan het eten.
There were times when I yelled. There were times when I cried, I screamed, I quarreled, I spanked.
Come baby, come on, swallow that.
Zo verlopen de maaltijden al bijna 3 jaar.
Swallow that, please. Right now, come.
While you can force the spoon in her mouth, you can't force her to swallow.
How long would she sit with food in her
She
mouth?
could sit with her food in her mouth for 3 hours.
Het ontbijt.
Come on, swallow up. Come down.
Robert is 10 en komt door het gedrag van zijn zusje veel aandacht tekort. Hij komt vandaag waarschijnlijk weer te laat op school, omdat zijn zusje haar pap niet opeet.
You want to swallow that, Molly? Swallow. Swallow so you can tell daddy bye.
Ook de vader, Richmond, komt er 's ochtends bekaaid af. Hij krijgt zelfs geen zoen als hij gaat werken.
Talking to
Okay.
daddy then.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Swallow up, swallow up. Look at the time. 8 o'clock, almost.
This battle of wills that you describe, this is every mealtime?
And every day. I have cried, I've cursed him, I'm saying I'm fed up, I'm going to run away.
Ze is nog niet ontsnapt, maar ze moet wel de hele dag rennen. Ze brengt allebei de kinderen naar school en moet dan zelf nog aan het werk als verzekeringsagente. En ze maakt zich zorgen, want Gabrielle is veel te licht voor haar leeftijd.
I remember having to go to work now and I think, oh my God, this child is going to starve in daycare.
Gabrielle vindt het leuk op de crash. Tot etenstijd. De spaghetti met gehaktballen ziet er lekker uit. Maar niet voor Gabrielle. De anderen vragen nog een bordje. Gabrielle speelt eindeloos met een spaghetti-sliertje.
God is gracious. God is good. Let us thank him for our food. Is that good?
Dan het avondeten. De derde poging vanavond.
Please, mommy. Please, Gabrielle. I don't want it.
Why not?
No.
En nog steeds zonder resultaat.
She will wake up at about maybe 4. And of course, prior to this, she was waking up 6, 7, 8 times at night.
Yes.
She would be crying, not crying tears. She would just be moaning. And you would hear her tummy. And you know she's hungry.
What do the doctors say? Do they tell you a child will not starve itself intentionally?
I've had one doctor say to me, well, remember, you have a small stature. I said, you don't need to remind me of that. I know that. I'm not talking about her being tall. I'm talking about her not eating.
I talked to my doctor about it, and he kept saying to me, oh, well, if she's not... He kept asking me every time I went for a visit with Victoria, how is she sleeping? She's not. Oh, he'd just shake his head. He never gave me an answer.
I mean, we talked to the doctor about it, and she said, you know, well, you're probably doing everything right. It's just him, and that's his personality, and that's the way he's going to be, so...
Als laatste redmiddel stapten de 3 gezinnen naar het Hinks Instituut voor Kinderpsychiatrie, waar uitgebreid onderzoek wordt gedaan naar dit soort problemen. Callum Hollett komt met zijn ouders en zijn broertje Tristan van 4 naar gezinstherapie. Liz Muir is de psychotherapeute.
Daddy, would you help me build this track?
Well, I have to talk to this.
Alle bijeenkomsten worden opgenomen op video. De ouders gaan hun eigen verleden na en dat van de kinderen. Waarom gaat de een gewoon 's nachts slapen en blijft de ander eindeloos huilen? Catherine praat over haar eerste zwangerschap.
Tristan was like the pregnancy from, I mean, it was so beautiful. I walked right through that pregnancy. I ate pasta and ice cream. I had a great time. I had a cesarean birth, and it was wonderful.
Met Callum ging het voor de geboorte al fout.
I spent the first 3 months throwing up. I didn't.
Bij Marceline Brigden ging het met de tweede zwangerschap net zo.
Right early in the beginning. I had brain cysts, which is constant.
Beide moeders hadden ook nog eens een zware bevalling. Bij Callum was het heel erg.
And he made a dreadful mess of me.
Dat tekende Marceline's gevoelens voor haar nieuwe kind.
I called him a little bugger for having put me through hell.
I was on intravenous. I couldn't hold the baby. She's never been a baby that really likes to be held. And even from the time she was about 2 days old, she was, crying in the hospital and, in the nursery.
Ook Catherine's baby lijkt haar niet erg toegenegen.
You put out so much for him, and he's not a very cuddly baby. He's not a very affectionate baby. He wants you to pick him up, but Tristan would cuddle up to you and hug you, even when he was really, really little. He was so affectionate. He's not.
So you miss that.
Yeah, it's like
he wants you to pick him up so he can see more.
Yeah, that's it. He wants to use you as a.
You pick him up and he's looking around.
But he never cuddles. So you almost feel. It's like, here, I'm giving you so much, buddy, and you never give me anything back but a scream.
Right, it's a very hard feeling.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, as I said before...
Novlet vertelt bij de therapie dat ze grotendeels zonder haar moeder is opgegroeid.
To her, it was because she had to work.
Sure.
And I guess it's the same thing here. He had to work, so the bond isn't there. So she had to work, so the bond wasn't there. It was my grandma, my aunt, and on a day-to-day basis, it was my sister and my older sister and brother. Yeah.
Voor psychiater Roy Muir is dit belangrijke informatie.
Wasn't any bond at the time, and I guess it's only...
She very much wants to do better than her own mum did. Not that she blames her mother, because her mother had to go out to work. But it was not a happy relationship with her own mother when she was very small.
You wanted to show me how you could hop. Oh. Look, I'm hopping on one foot.
Hop, 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 Mr. Rabbit.
Your turn.
Op het instituut wordt eerst gekeken hoe ver Gabrielle is in haar ontwikkeling.
Oh, good, hopping.
Alle kinderen worden aan een aantal tests onderworpen. Het blijkt dat ze zich fysiek normaal ontwikkelen, maar emotioneel niet. Hoe komt dat? Bij deze test wordt Victoria een tijdje alleen gelaten met een onbekende. Als haar moeder terugkomt, kijkt de therapeut hoe ze op elkaar reageren.
We'll share that. Eat some more.
Ze worden zelfs geobserveerd als er tussendoor wat gegeten wordt. Het lijkt erop dat iets, een emotionele band tussen hen, in de weg staat. De moeder begrijpt niet wat haar kind wil. Dit heet in vaktermen onveilige hechting.
You loved it so much? Did you know that?
Volgens de overleden Britse psychiater John Bowlby, die deze theorie heeft ontwikkeld, leidt onveilige hechting op jonge leeftijd tot problemen in de latere jaren. Hij bestudeerde weeskinderen en kwam erachter dat ze last hadden van dezelfde angsten. Ondanks het feit dat de ouders bij deze kinderen fysiek wel aanwezig zijn.
There were certain behaviors or symptoms, you might call them, of early infancy and young childhood, such as difficulty in sleeping, difficulty with eating, tantruming, and then clinging and difficulties with separating from the parents. They're all behaviors which engage the parent. And what he was saying was it was odd because, in fact, these children had their parents with them. So their parents weren't gone, like they were not abandoned children. But that, nevertheless, there was a separation anxiety. So that there would be something in the interaction which was making children anxious about their relationship with their parents and anxiously attached.
Een gebrek aan gevoelsaandacht in de eerste 3 jaar heeft volgens Bowlby ook gevolgen voor de maatschappij.
It means a lot of mental health and disturbance and delinquency and what have you.
De hechtingstheorie is omstreden. Voor Harvard-psychiater Jerome Kagan klinkt het te zeer als een levenslange straf.
I would say that if in the first year or two you did not have predictability, you didn't have nurturance, you didn't have skin contact, then you're compromised to some degree. So now you enter childhood with a burden, as attachment theorists say. But a burden. It doesn't mean you can't unload that burden.
Hoe het met Callum zal aflopen, of met Victoria, is natuurlijk maar de vraag. Ze staan aan zoveel invloeden bloot. Maar men is er steeds meer van overtuigd dat ze betere kansen krijgen als de eerste bouwstenen op de goede plek liggen. Aan de Universiteit van Minnesota heeft men ruim 200 kinderen vanaf de geboorte gevolgd. Professor Alan Struve heeft nauwkeurig meegekeken met kinderen die nu boven de 20 zijn. Hij kan een aardig beeld geven van die generatie en van de consequenties van onveilige hechting.
Through relationships, children can change, apparently throughout the course of childhood. One worries that change becomes more difficult the older the child is. And you could think of that as if you think of development as a series of pathways, the longer you've followed a pathway that's leading off, the more difficult it is to come back.
De familie Malcolm op weg naar psychiater Roy Muir. Gabrielle heeft haar ontbijt weer laten staan.
Okay, Gabby, swallow up, baby.
Novelet dringt aan.
When you swallow up that, then you close your eyes and turn to mommy, and then mommy give you some more, right?
There's a couple of things that you can't make people do, no matter how small they are, and one of them is eat.
Gabrielle? Oh, I like your singing. Can you have some more of the part? Oh, boy, I like that song. Which song are you singing? Come, Gabby, Gab. Oh, you have in your mouth. Oh, swallow up. Swallow up. We don't want the rest of the part to get cold, okay? Here, boo-boo. Come, Gab.
De pap duurt kilometers lang.
This mother carried a freight load of anxiety, right, and anticipations of one sort or another that she conveyed with her gestures, quite unwittingly, and that the child, because children are very sensitive, responded to.
Okay, swallow that. Come, darling.
A bit too anxious and a bit too pushy, a bit too concerned that the child might not get enough today, and the hatches shut down.
Oh, well, what? You have some more in your mouth? No, you don't.
Bij het instituut is de pap nog steeds niet op.
Look at me. Gabby.
Ook in het tweede gesprek gaat het over Novelet's moeder.
Well, sometimes I do display some of I would call aggression, which I see similar in my sisters too. But it doesn't come out too much in the fore because I know them, I recognize them, and I don't try to put them to my child because I remember how I felt when those were being, imposed on me. So, I try to be the opposite of how I remember her.
Of how you remember your mom. Not only because of aggression, as I remember.
No, but I mean dictatorial and, bossy, all those kinds of stuff. Because
Novelet blijkt vroeger precies hetzelfde te hebben gedaan als Gabrielle nu. Alleen werd Novelet door haar tante gevoerd.
And tea for breakfast, I'm sorry. And I can just see my aunt's face. I can see it now. And in my mind, I'll be going, I'm not eating it, I'm not eating it. And I know that any minute now, the bus is going to come for church and I'm going to get up and leave it because, I just have to wait her out.
You have to wait her out long enough and the bus will come and you'll win. That's right.
Like when I'm coming here, I'm thinking about when I was little bit and used to give you all that problems to eat, Just exactly like Gabrielle is giving me all those kind of problems now. And I guess
Tante Carmen haalt op hoe lastig Novelet als kind was.
To drink water, not anything, just water. Yeah. So tell me.
You see, in those times I used to feel that I want to beat you.
This is the one that is vivid in my mind is this time when I was sitting there and I was eating this dumpling. It was in my mouth and I cut this one piece of dumpling and I would just sit there and I was chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and everybody else got up from the table and I still sat there. You said, Novelet, aren't you gonna swallow that and finish eating your dinner? Swallow what's in your mouth? Because if you spit it up, I am going to spank you. You'd get the belt. You'd send me for the belt. I'd bring the belt. Remember, I'd bring the belt and you'd put it there and says, if you don't eat, I'm going to spank you. Look at the child's stomach. getting the bell.
Yeah, go and get the bed. Go and get the bed.
I don't
She's
remember
quiet.
getting very mad, but I really, don't feel pleased of your action towards how you eat.
But when Mama had that to encounter,
No, she get terribly mad. If you don't come and eat,
I'm gonna spank you,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Did you swallow what's in your mouth yet? Swallow what's in your mouth. Right now. Right now. Right now.
Met de riem wordt gedreigd, niet geslagen.
Come on, Gabrielle. Come on, right now. Swallow it up. Would you like me to spank you? You see the bell? Then swallow what's in your mouth.
The parent-child relationship is stored in our memory systems from far earlier than we remember, than the verbal memories we have. And in many ways, from what we know of the attachment systems, much of the really important stuff goes on in the first year and a half. And that storage is at the automatic level. And what we do, we now know that what we tend to do as parents is repeat the behavioral patterns that we stored at that level.
You want me to slap you again? Swallow what's in your mouth. Swallow it up right now.
Onderzoekers proberen dit gedrag van generatie op generatie te volgen. Psychiater Diane Benoit vroeg 100 vrouwen naar hun gevoelens over hun moeder en hun ongeboren baby's.
We found that from grandmother to mother to infant, there was, in fact, across these 3 generations, a 65% rate of straight transmission.
Na de bevalling ondervroeg ze de vrouwen opnieuw.
We used this adult attachment interview, this measure of attachment, during the pregnancy. And based on the parents, the moms in that case, the moms' answers to those questions, we could predict how the baby would relate to that parent. And we were right in that particular study just about 80% of the time.
Gabrielle als baby.
Was never a happy baby. Cried, clingy, would go to no one, not her dad, not her grandma, not her cousins, no one. Come on, sweetie.
Als peuter zet Gabrielle die lijn voort.
Swallow that one and you tell me what your brother name is, okay?
Her relationship with her mother was, as a child, more negative, manifestly, than the present mother-child relationship. But I would say that it was also an anxious attachment.
What color is it? But you have to swallow first so you can tell me.
Victoria Brigden probeert mama's aandacht te trekken. Ze zijn op weg naar het Hinks Instituut. Bij een taaltest hoort Marceline dat elk signaal van haar dochter langs haar heen gaat. Victoria blijkt heel wel bespraakt voor haar leeftijd.
Ever since we've had that language assessment, though, I can't believe. Like, I went in there thinking she can only say 10 words, because Melanie said to me, well, how many words do you think she can say? And I said, oh, 10, 15 words. Yes. And I was shocked when I got out of there. Like, for example, if I'm in the car and I'm driving along, I would just be sitting there driving along, because she's a baby, she doesn't really know what's going on. But now, for example, I'd say, oh, look, there's a cat, or look at that truck. And she'll say truck, and she'll say dog, and, she's looking out the window now. She was doing that all the way along, but I never really paid much attention to it. A doggy? Oh, I missed it.
Long before children learn to talk, they're able to speak through play. That's how they discover the world, how they learn about themselves. It's how their parents find out about them. And if there's a problem, like an inability to sleep or a refusal to eat, the solution can often be found in play, if you're watching.
Elk stuk speelgoed heeft een betekenis. Neem bijvoorbeeld de dieren.
Children use them a lot to express their feelings, their loving feelings. They play with the tame animals, and the wild animals, of course, expressing anger, rage, aggression, hostility. The doctor's kit is used by children to express their feelings about being seen in a clinic and the sense that something might be wrong. They can play this out by using the stethoscope and other pieces of medical equipment to communicate their worries and their fears about it. The dolls are used a lot. They represent the child themselves. Children use them to play out the problems that they're having in the family, sleeping problems, and also to play out themes relating to feeding and nurturance.
Marceline en Victoria beginnen vandaag met een serieus spel. 8 weken lang participerende observatie. Liz Muir herinnert Marceline nog even aan de regels.
Okay, do you remember the instructions?
Right, just sit on the floor and keep eye contact with her.
Follow her lead at all times. No take over or initiate any activity. Let her always be the initiator.
Okay, I remember.
De kamer ligt vol speelgoed, maar Victoria loopt meteen naar de pop en legt die in bed. Volgens haar moeder speelt ze nooit met poppen. Maar vandaag nemen ze haar volledig in beslag.
The other thing she was doing with the dolls was she was feeding the dolls with the baby bottles. And Marceline was saying in the session that she's having a struggle at the moment, not only around the feeding at the table, but that she is wanting to help Victoria give up the bottle. So the battle around the bottle is very important. So a lot of the play was in feed. She fed herself a little bit quickly and furtively, but then she fed the baby. So there are two preoccupations of Marceline's and Nell's right in there in the play.
I was really amazed by this. I think it is exactly.
Victoria laat haar moeder spelenderwijs zien hoe zwaar het leven kan zijn voor iemand van 1,5.
This, stethoscope on, and she would be, banging it on me and hitting me with it as hard as she could. Liz said to me, "What do you notice about this session, this one day?" And I said, "Well, she seems very aggressive with this doctor's kit." And she was trying to hit me with it, and I was kind of saying, "No, don't do this." She said, "Well, how did it make you feel?" And I said, "Well, scared that she was going to hit me." And she said, "Well, maybe that's the way she's feeling towards the doctor."
Marceline keek inderdaad op van deze sessies. Nu begreep ze haar dochters gedrag bij de dokter.
Just goes crazy, like crying, and if he comes in, well, she's just nuts. Like he has to lean on her to hold her down, like to look at her.
Does he? Does he?
Because she'll be kicking him and hitting him, and yeah, and he hasn't done anything to her. Like he's trying to listen to her heart.
2 weken later is dokter Victoria een stuk vriendelijker. Ze is die week zelf bij de dokter geweest en Marceline heeft erg haar best gedaan om haar op haar gemak te stellen.
She was upset, but she calmed down very quickly. It'll be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see what else, comes out. Yeah, from just watching her play.
Het spelen van Gabrielle Malcolm spreekt boekdelen. Zelf wil ze niet eten, maar de poppen moeten wel eten.
Oh, feed her? Oh, okay.
And feed her.
But I think a question. If she can feed her own baby and do everything, I think if she could reflect on what she's doing now, if she could just feed like that, if she could eat.
Het maaltijdritueel heeft zijn weerslag op het hele gezin. Daarom zijn ze er soms alle 4 bij.
Really good question. If she could just reflect on that. But I think she's probably, that's the whole point. She's a bit young to be able to reflect. Yeah. But what little kids do is they play instead of reflecting.
Dit spelletje spelen Gabrielle en haar moeder elke maaltijd. Nu ziet Dr. Muir wat Novelet's sterke kanten als moeder zijn.
Novelet is an enormously imaginative and talented mother in terms of her capacity to introduce fantasy, games, play, and to teach her child.
Good kid.
No.
Maar ook haar zwakke kanten komen naar voren.
Baby, mommy. Feed my own baby? Yeah. What are you feeding your baby?
Spaghetti.
Some spaghetti? Oh, yum, yum. I'm going to give my baby some porridge just like remember I gave her some porridge this morning. Kind of mix it up. And I just blow on it to cool it. And I just give it to her. Oh, boy, she's loving it. Look at that. She opens up her eyes. She's smiling. She just loves the porridge.
And is this the spaghetti or is this the porridge?
Which one is that? Spaghetti or porridge? Oh,
It's
this
the
is the porridge. Okay.
What was very noticeable was that from the right in the very first session was that Novelette could not help dictating the terms, correcting the child.
We have a fight every morning.
About everything?
About not everything. The outfit.
When she
fashion.
doesn't get to select the dresses or clothing to wear to daycare.
Exactly.
It tends to be that.
Jogging.
So you fight about food, you fight about sleep, you fight about clothes.
Which basically covers it, don't you think? Well, then we'd say we fight about everything because she has a definite mind of her own and she lets you know what she thinks. Every child's favorite word is no, but she has no with an explanation.
Catherine Hollett is sceptisch over hun eerste sessie participerende observatie.
Oh, we were kind of wondering whether this was going to work at all. We were really expecting her to say, well, I've looked at all the evidence and the test results, and I know that Callum is like this, and because he's like this, we can use this to make him better. And we didn't get that, so we kind of thought, oh, this might be a real waste of time. And we've started to have these horrible thoughts about what we're going to do if this doesn't work. I was about to say when this doesn't work, but if this doesn't work, I don't know where we go next with this.
Bij zijn eerste bezoeken aan het instituut komt Callum helemaal niet aan spelen toe. Hij valt steeds om. Dit is een van de eerste observaties die Liz Muir noteert. Het eerste verband tussen spel en probleem.
How much is his lack of relaxation in the play and maybe in bed at night have to do with the lack of relaxation in the relationship?
Als hij even tot rust kwam, werd er toch wel iets zichtbaar.
Fairly early on in the piece, there was just a fleeting moment. He had us back to the camera and to his mother, and he'd picked up the little baby's bottle, and he put it in his mouth, and he kind of looked as if he felt he shouldn't be doing this, and then put it down again immediately. And I thought it was just the whole way that he did this, I felt it really was very important. And the thought crossed my mind, there's something here to do with an expression of a particular kind of infantile need or a baby need, something to do with nurturance and around bottles and being fed and things like that. And then he seemed to ignore it, and then I thought, well, maybe I was just imagining it. And then a little bit later he came back to it, and he wanted to feed himself, he wanted to feed his mother, and he was feeding the doll. So we started to elaborate that a little. And right at the very end of the session, Catherine said something really very important. It's something that's concerning her, and it relates to a lot of the other things she was discussing in the session, which had to do with her feelings about having to attend to two babies, not one.
Sometimes I kind of feel bad, like I nursed Tristan until he was 9 months old. And I only nursed him till 4 months because I couldn't keep Tristan's schedule of all of Tristan's events and things that he does and nurse at the same time, because he'd want to nurse and I'd be behind the wheel of a car taking Tristan somewhere.
Thank you very much for your patience. Tristan, thank you. Let's bring Samantha, please.
Tristan is acteur. Hij speelt hier de rol die elke moeder graag ziet. Het ideale kind. Catherine beseft inmiddels door de therapie dat ze Callum dezelfde rol opdringt als zijn broer.
I started to think that I don't know if I've ever let Callum be Callum. I think Callum was born to be Tristan.
Er blijkt nog iets uit Callum's spel. Hij voelt zich aangetrokken tot de gevaarlijke dieren. Bij de andere kinderen is dat in het begin net zo.
Oh, scary.
Aanhangers van de hechtingstheorie zien dit als uiting van agressie, die zou voortkomen uit de frustratie over een onstabiele relatie. Bij zo'n 40% van de kinderen in Noord-Amerika is sprake van onveilige hechting aan hun ouders. Volgens Alan Struve is er een duidelijk verband met agressie.
Kids who are aggressive as preschoolers, it's a pretty good prediction of being aggressive later. And in early elementary school, and it gets to be even a stronger prediction. Aggression is a very stable characteristic once it's in place.
Agressie houdt Marceline erg bezig.
You don't want her to be too aggressive, though, either, because then I think she'll have trouble socializing with other children. You know, if she's, you know, pushing and you know, she's not hitting. She, you know, but maybe it'll lead to that. I don't know. You know, when she gets older, you know.
Right.
Marceline wil geen agressief, maar wel een assertief kind.
So I'm hoping that maybe if we can help her now, maybe she will be a little bit more outgoing. Because I consider myself fairly shy. I'm not a outgoing personality, and I can see that how that's kind of held me back on a lot of things. If I had a little bit more of an outgoing personality, I would have maybe done a few more things.
Children who have histories of secure attachment, children who have experienced reliable, responsive care, are rated as dramatically higher on self-esteem by the time they're in preschool than children who have histories of anxious attachment. This data is very strong data in our study, and it holds up not only in preschool, but in elementary school and on into the teenage years.
What's in your mouth? What is it in your mouth? What do you have? Let me see it, please.
Na 2 weken therapie is er bij de Malcolms nog weinig verbetering.
Did you want me to warm it up?
Ze zijn al een uur aan het eten. Het eten is al een keer opgewarmd. De magnetron piept met de regelmaat van de klok. Het is bedtijd. Het bord is niet leeg. De camera gaat uit.
Very, very hungry. I can't believe it.
Just get some pizza, give it to her.
Op het instituut gaat het ook niet erg vooruit.
I think Gabrielle wishes that it went just as nicely as this when she and Mummy are having their meal. Do you think she wishes that?
My baby.
Pardon?
I want to have my baby.
You're gonna cover up?
Perhaps we could spend just a very few minutes now just talking about the session and how it's...
Oh, boy, she said she's taking a rest.
We're not going to get too much of a chance to talk about the session, are we?
There we go. Oops. Okay, you play with the ball while I can talk to doctor now, okay? It's time for us to go. Almost though. We're finished.
Yes, we do. We do actually have to finish now.
I can't take it out.
Okay, wait on.
We'll leave it at that for today.
All right.
And next week, at this time, it'll be a family meeting.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I know we needed to get one more in. Did you want to do it Thursday and
whether
Friday?
she really wanted to examine her own behavior in this and its impact on her daughter, and furthermore, whether she was at all interested in looking at the roots of her own behavior in her past experience.
If I found that I was a part of the problem, I'd be very hard on myself. I would be upset at myself because I've already questioned myself. I've said to myself, did I start too late in introducing her? Was I persistent enough when she was younger?
But is it about food?
I don't know.
Een slechte dag voor de familie Hollett. En het wordt er niet beter op. Vanwege dit soort spanningen heeft men hulp gezocht.
This is bad. Bad baby.
Just stop. For Christ's sake, go to fucking sleep.
Veel zorgen voor papa.
I could feel that the relationship between the two of them was deteriorating. And I was really concerned about where it was going to go. Catherine and I had words about it. I knew she was getting near the end of her patience.
In de tweede week komt bij Catherine het hele verhaal eruit.
At this point, you can't take your eyes off him.
No, I mean, in fact, we had such a bad day yesterday. I know this sounds so horrible, but I left my kids in the house and I got in my car and I thought I was going to leave.
Really?
I mean, he'd spent the whole day screaming. He hadn't napped. And I just reached a point where I said, well, I'm going to put you in your room and I don't care if you scream. I have to have 10 minutes to sit down and not watch you and not listen to you. And I could just hear him screaming and screaming and screaming. And I just went out and I sat in the car and I sat there and I really thought about just driving away. And then, it was so horrible because when I came in, Tristan's sitting on the floor crying, going, where did you go, Mommy? And it made me feel even worse. And then that makes me mad at him because Tristan had to suffer because I just sort of reached explosion point.
Catherine beseft dat Callum's gedrag verandert als ze meer aandacht aan hem besteedt.
We were talking about before, he stayed in this area, the special thing in this area.
I'm just sort of making some connections here. Also, the 2 days that were really wonderful, he was playing really differently. Like, he was playing very independently.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
In de volgende 2 weken gaat Catherine haar zoon met andere ogen bekijken.
When Liz sort of went over that this was the whole gist of the program, I thought, this is really stupid. I thought, this is some kind of hokey psychiatric weirdness or something, that they think they can read all these things into. I mean, I actually thought they were going to be the ones doing all the reading into it, and as it turns out, it's me doing all the reading into it. Thanks, that beanbag.
Ineens valt alles op zijn plaats. Ze merkt dat Callum de zitzak leuk vindt, maar hij dreint een beetje. Ze denkt dat hij een schone luier moet hebben, maar dat is het niet. Het zal nog een paar weken duren voordat de boodschap overkomt. Een week later loopt hij weer naar de zitzak. Zijn moeder interpreteert zijn blik verkeerd.
What do you think of this, Mommy? This is, I'm peddling something. And looking at me like, almost like, are you jealous?
Ze denkt dat hij bij de hand probeert te zijn. 3 weken later begrijpt ze het.
He just loves to crawl up on the bed and just cuddle up with you and just kind of fall into the duvet. It's very similar, you know.
Oh, so maybe that.
Yeah, that might. I never thought of that before because we've had it for months now.
So maybe rather than just a kind of a sort of smug look, see, it might have been an invitation for you to be with him as you.
Yeah.
Callum hoefde geen schone luier. Hij deed niet bij de hand. Hij wou gewoon geknuffeld worden.
Ready? 1, 2. Woo! He's become very cuddly, and he's communicating a lot. He's really making an effort to get his thoughts or his needs across to you without screaming. Come on, Diddy, take Mommy's finger.
In de 3e therapieweek durft Callum voorzichtig een vinger te pakken. Catherine voelt meteen zijn hele hand.
All I have to do is give him my finger. And he's perfectly happy.
Isn't that incredible?
I can walk through a mall with him holding onto my finger. And he won't wander off. He'll just hang on to my finger.
Bij Marceline Brigden gaat het net zo. Victoria steekt voor het eerst haar armen naar haar moeder uit.
She was holding on to my hand, fairly, she had a good grasp of it. And then she grabbed onto my baby finger and was holding my baby finger. And I thought, geez, this is something like a real newborn does. Like it's something, and it was, I don't know, it was a good feeling. Like I thought, oh, geez, it felt like she wanted me there, she needed me there. And just for a few seconds, I mean, it wasn't long, but I thought it was really good. And Elizabeth seemed to think it was really good too.
I think you're right on the point of discovering something really important.
Marceline kon haar dochter nu wel op haar gemak stellen. Voor het eerst in 1,5 jaar sliep Victoria de hele nacht door.
Even just slept right on through. So what are your thoughts about that?
In de 4e week lijken Marceline en Victoria een nieuwe weg in te slaan.
I guess maybe spending the hour with her, every week has helped a lot. She's more enjoyable. Like you're laughing at her all the time when she does things, and she seems to make silly faces, and she's happier. She seems happier, so I guess I'm happier too.
I think that something has clicked between Callum and I that has never clicked before. I feel like we finally bonded for the first time in his whole life. Now, in terms of his problem, I mean, he's still waking up at night.
Callum schreeuwt 's nachts nog steeds. Papa komt hem troosten. Alan is al 2 keer binnen geweest. Het is 12:20. Om 2:05 stommelt hij weer naar binnen. Kort na 5 uur. 6:15. 6:30. Alan moet naar zijn werk in het Royal Ontario Museum. Hij klaagt niet. Hij ziet dat de therapie helpt.
I'm not getting the phone calls at work saying, I can't handle this guy. Sometimes you could come home and you could feel the tension in the house, like between the two of them. One would be sitting in the corner screaming and the other one be in the kitchen throwing things around, And, you just knew that it hadn't been a good day. But those are getting much, much more infrequent, so that's great.
It's pretty amazing. It's really amazing, because I didn't think it was ever going to end. I could just see myself butting heads with this kid till he was 20.
Als ouders blijven botsen met hun kinderen, is de kans groot dat die zichzelf later ten gronde richten. Dat zegt psychiater Jack Block van de Universiteit van Californië. Hij volgt al meer dan 20 jaar een groep kinderen.
We can identify certain characteristics of early parenting that have adverse consequences 20 years later.
Als de balans doorsloeg, had dat ernstige gevolgen.
Certain outcomes like drug usage or depression or show relations to parenting characteristics identified at age 3.
De derde speelsessie voor Novelat en Gabrielle. Het gaat nauwelijks beter.
So we begin.
Sure. Oops, okay.
Gabrielle moet van haar moeder met haar Barbie spelen.
What are you going to do about her now? Her feelings are going to be heard. What do you think we should do about her?
Is she a baby or a Barbie?
A Barbie.
She's a Barbie.
What are you going to do about her?
I had begun to talk in the previous session about choice, but it seemed to fall on deaf ears. But I went back to it rather doggedly and asked her if she would like to have me, point out some more about what I meant by that. And with her agreement, we had a very hard-working and a very interesting session in which Novelette's great difficulty in giving her daughter choice, was explored. I've really been noticing that even in the play situation, you often have a need to, you know, to take away the possibility of choice and direct.
It's true. It's
you know?
true. What do you have now?
Voor Novelet is dit een doorbraak.
How many? You know what happened? These 3 mother habits, they're going to have to spend a lot of money for dog food. Dr. Moore says to me, he's so sweet, he says to me, you tell lovely stories, and they're all very educational, but maybe let her tell the story.
You're such a great storyteller that there's not much room.
And I thought, ouch! It was so funny. And I kind of looked back at it and I'm thinking, I can see it, I can hear it, I feel it.
I would be interested, and I would encourage you to be interested, to
Let her.
leave some space to see what fantasy stories
Okay.
she comes up with.
He kind of nicely tells me to give her some space, let her be creative, let her think, let her tell you the story. Shut up and listen. And oh, here's your Barbie. Are you going to leave your Barbie there?
At the end of that session, she indicated she was going to leave her Barbie doll behind, which was sitting on another toy beside me, and had been for most of the session. Mother said she didn't think that would be a good idea, so again I reminded her that we were talking about choices here, and would it harm if it was okay with me if she left her Barbie doll here. So what do you think you'll do? Do you think you'll take her, or do you think you'll leave her?
Leave her.
I thought it was a very, very important marker that this child was willing to leave a representative of both her mother and herself. You know, this glamorous Barbie doll, you know, with me for safekeeping.
Actually, the traffic wasn't okay.
Yes, that's what
Bij een gezinssessie vertelt Novelet Roy Muir over een andere keuze van Gabrielle.
Okay. Oh, you'll be very happy about this.
I'll be...
You'll be very happy about this. As I heard her say, I will. Last time when I put it up on the table. So, you know, she always will. When I set her plate and I put her to sit, she always comes and sits over in my lap. So I assumed last night, since she has her school, I thought, oh, poor baby, I'm going to put her in my lap. She said, get over to your own chair.
She's picking up the cue about choice. She's letting me know that, yes, there are issues of choice.
Yes, my boo-boo.
Okay,
hush.
No more anymore.
Yes, mine. Drink a little more. Just bring it up like that.
I want it.
Just a little bit.
2 dagen later moet de pap tot de laatste druppel op.
Stop in that, Robert. Leave her alone. Come. How about this? Just this much more spoonful and then you're finished. You want to go use the bathroom? Want to poop?
Gabrielle klaagt over pijn in haar buik.
Oh. It's almost finished. Almost finished. Gabby is almost finished. And I'm so happy. Gabrielle. I am so very proud of my Gabrielle. Look at that. I can't believe it. See that, Papa? Oh my goodness, look at that. One more. This is it. This is it. It's okay. Okay, that's it.
Ook bij de Brigdens zit het even tegen.
This is just a note to say that Marceline had called yesterday to talk about her frustration about the lack of progress. She talked of leaving Victoria with a babysitter and said that she wouldn't settle with the sitter.
Mommy and Daddy gonna come soon?
She indicated that both she and Nels were feeling frustrated. I encouraged her to bring these concerns up in the session which we will be having today.
From August until now, there hasn't been a dramatic change, and like she's not now all of a sudden bang. I can figure out by looking at her, well, you know, she's going to sleep through the night.
Right.
You know, every night. I guess I was kind of hoping that something was going to, either you were going to say something or point us in some direction, or,
right,
you know, to help us solve that, because she's still having trouble, obviously, adjusting to babysitters and leaving. And I mean, it puts me in a position where, well, I guess I just better not leave her. Like, I came in and she was clinging on to me, you know, like sobbing and making noises like she was holding on to my neck and she was making these funny noises. And I said to Nels afterwards, it was like sucking noises like a baby would make that's nursing.
She now looks to you for that.
Yeah,
she's moved from not finding it, not looking for it in you, not finding it in you because you didn't know how to give it, because she wasn't, I mean, she couldn't do it. She couldn't take it from you. You were there giving it to her, but she couldn't take it from you. Now she looks to you for it. The discussion that followed, it became clearer that there are, in fact, changes underway. Victoria is eating better, is less of a problem at the table, and will now leave the table after she's finished eating, something she wasn't doing before.
Zo is Victoria nu.
I can take it to,
Een heel verschil met vroeger.
Try some of those. You have some dinner, please.
Voor vader, moeder en Kimberly verlopen de maaltijden tegenwoordig een stuk beschaafder. De 7e week. Ook bij de familie Hollett is er wat meer rust in huis. De nachten klinken anders en Catherine is niet meer bang om de kamer van haar zoon binnen te gaan.
I would go in and check him while he was sleeping, and I just kind of go like this, and he'd go, it was like he knew, and he just sort of, there'd be this big smile, and he'd sort of giggle, and then, but he wouldn't wake up.
The last 2 nights he has slept through the night. Kathy said she realised that she had to forgive Callum for the days before he would settle during the day, and that the same thing had to happen before they could deal with the night waking.
Because when it goes on so long, you think, you know, you're doing this to bug me. And that's a really stupid way to think, but after a while, that's kind of what kicks in. You take it personally.
It starts to feel that way.
Yeah.
You start to feel persecuted by
Yeah.
it.
Find a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle, here's my spout. When I get a...
Catherine vindt het nu leuk thuis met Callum. En Alan wordt heel anders begroet als hij thuis komt.
Thanks, buddy.
I had to read like every book. He just kept sitting here going, dap, 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 one after another.
Na 6 weken therapie gaat het ook bij de Malcolms iets beter. Gabrielle trekt meer naar haar vader. Hij mag vanavond voorlezen.
She's asking more for her dad. When we come home from school, she's like, where's my dad? And is he gonna come home soon? Where normally she couldn't care less.
At what end? Who sweets white rice? Maybe we can. Sarah? Oh man, you're doing good in your own. You remember how you said to me?
Novelet laat de teugels vieren. Ook als Gabrielle in haar oude patroon vervalt.
Yes, I remember when you told that to me.
Soms mag ze zelfs haar eten laten staan.
No more? No. And some grapes now? Okay.
Ze mag 's avonds cornflakes en vraagt om een tweede bakje.
Put some more in here. Pardon me? Put some more. Some more cornflakes? Yeah. You said, may I have some more, please? What does that mean? I mean, that means for me to swallow. What does that mean to you? Come. Would you like us to have a fight? Well then, please.
De volgende morgen blijkt dat ingesleten gewoontes hardnekkig zijn.
We bring our inheritance with us. We bring our relational inheritance with us, and nowhere do we bring it more forcibly than into our parenting. And a lot of people don't realize this. When they think that parenting comes naturally, they're correct. It does come naturally, but it comes naturally the way you learned it. It doesn't necessarily come naturally to do it differently.
She's gonna be shy. Look where you're here. What do you mean? Huh?
What do you mean, look at you here?
Look at the poor boys here.
De familie Malcolm op weg naar hun laatste sessie. Ze kunnen er eventueel nog 10 weken mee doorgaan. Daarover moeten ze vandaag beslissen.
You can take that one, right?
As you look at the whole situation.
Well, I don't think we're in any means finished with in terms of getting her to eat, but the progress is continuing.
In terms of compared to where we were at when we started and now, yes, we have made, you might just stride in progress, significant progress. You get a feel that you're managing the situation a lot better than it was 5 months ago.
There's a lot less anxiety.
Yes.
The next question is,
Okay.
Where do we go from here?
Get more review sessions?
More review sessions.
I guess.
Na 8 weken gezinstherapie wil Novelet geen vrij meer nemen van haar werk. Het gezin gaat het voorlopig alleen doen.
Okay, bye-bye.
One thinks of adolescence, of course. You know, this is going to be a tough time, and it may be that they'll need some more help at times like that.
Are there still times in the morning that you will put her on your lap and feed her?
I still do that, but that's me. I think that's me.
So whose behavior changed more?
Mine. It's the truth. It's mine. Yeah, it is. I kind of let go some. I haven't let go completely because there are times when we still have a battle, but it's mine.
Well, then why are you still battling?
Well, I have relapses. I go back.
She just feels that she's not ingesting as much of it to satisfy her sense of what she should be eating. And I think that's where it is.
So you would call yourself a control freak?
Boy, am I ever. It's true. I'm much better than a year ago, than 2 years ago, in terms of controlling everything else. Mom, yes, Gabrielle?
Good timing.
Ouch. What would you like?
Op het juiste moment vraagt Gabrielle om eten.
What would you like? May I have some? May I? What would you like?
I want some bread.
And what? What would you like on the bread?
Cheese.
You would? Okay. A big girl. Oh my. This looks very good. I've always told myself that I never wanted to have a relationship with a daughter that I had with my mom. It would be just, you know, another generation playing out something that I really didn't want for myself, that I wouldn't want for my daughter, that subconsciously happens for whatever reason.
Bij Marceline heeft de participerende observatie gewerkt. Ze begrijpt Victoria nu en zegt vaak dat ze het van haar kant kan zien. Volgens de hechtingstheorie is een liefdevolle relatie voor een jong kind een blauwdruk voor al zijn andere relaties. Die geeft het kind vertrouwen om de wereld te gaan ontdekken. De slapeloze Victoria snakte naar geborgenheid. Nu slaapt ze de hele nacht door. Marceline zag de rust bij haar wederkeren.
She would go to this alligator with these teeth and always these horrible animals. I mean, and I kept saying, geez, I don't know why she's going to these animals. And she'd always be pointing at the teeth and telling me about the teeth.
Jeez.
In the last couple sessions, she's been going to the other animals. Birdies. She's not looking at this alligator anymore.
Ze kan nu ook beter met frustraties omgaan.
She now very patiently will sit with the blocks and stack 3, 4 towers, and if they fall down, it doesn't matter, you know, stack them again. Where in the beginning, no way.
En weet u nog hoe Callum eerst was?
I think if we looked at a tape from the very beginning and a tape now, we would notice quite a vast difference in the activity level of his play. He's concentrating, he's actually focusing on tasks and exploring the toys for pockets of time.
Dat kan Callum straks op school gebruiken. Volgens Alan Sroufe is er een verband tussen stabiele hechting en leerprestaties.
Math achievement at age 16 is predicted by security of your early relationships. But I think the linkage is indirect. We don't find that secure attachment leads to higher intelligence. And in fact, that makes it interesting that it does predict better achievement. Because it's not because it makes kids more intelligent. I think it helps children be more confident in themselves and be more resourceful.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Victoria. Happy birthday to you.
Op Victoria's tweede verjaardag valt er veel te vieren. En oma van de kalmeringstabletten is erg blij met de verandering.
It's like another child has emerged. It just seems as if she's developed some kind of self-confidence and that she didn't have before.
Do you want to open another present, Victoria?
Do you want to open this, sweetheart? Yeah. Before she started her, she couldn't be away from Marceline. Even when Marceline was here, she wouldn't let Marceline out of her sight, and she would hang on to her the whole time. Before, she didn't want anyone to touch her, pick her up. She wouldn't. You tried to talk to her, she'd just turn away from you. And now, oh, what a change. She's just an entirely different child. It's just amazing.
Marceline is dolblij dat 8 weken spelen met Victoria zoveel heeft opgeleverd.
What you got? It's a joyful experience to go out as a family. Where before it was like, you know, I don't want to go anywhere with her. You know, it's just going to be awful. She's going to scream. She's not going to sleep. You know, we couldn't go on a holiday or anything because she just doesn't sleep at night. You know, you couldn't leave her. You know, it would just be. It wasn't enjoyable. But now she's so much happier.
She's asking to go to bed, and she's going to bed with no troubles, and she's sleeping through the night. 6 days out of 7.
It's really incredible that could happen. You do somehow reconnect with them.
I guess in a way, yeah, that is true. It's like having a totally different new baby. Or maybe, I don't know, I think really it's just finding him, having never really found him to begin with.
So clearly it is the beginning of a new relationship, perhaps the way it should have started.
Yeah, it's a very different relationship now. I can honestly say I went through a spell where I just regretted the day that he ever came into our lives.
Hello, is that the police station?
Yes, this is the police station.
De laatste sessie voor de familie Hollett. De veranderingen zijn duidelijk te zien en hun gevoel daarover is ondubbelzinnig.
Guess he doesn't need an address.
Well, it's not an easy question to answer because it's so gradual.
Is there anything else you want to mention before we part company?
I'll just wait for you out here.
We finally got our baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit.
He was missing for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Funny feeling that.
Yeah, it was like a lost soul. You didn't fit in.
I really...
It feels more like a family now than it did when he was really little and he was being a pain. There was Tristan and me and Alan, and then there was Callum. Now it's really got, it really feels like a family.
Tristan?
Do you want to say goodnight to Callum? Say goodnight.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Look at Granddad and smile.
Bij de Brigdens is het gezinsleven ook heel anders.
Oh, I think it's great. I'm very happy that she's so happy, and you know, it's really it's amazing that could happen so quickly too.
Hi.
Say cheese. Say
Cheese. You almost feel ashamed of Victoria in the beginning when she was having so much trouble, and now we have this child who's totally different.
Kiss, kiss.